Hey everybody, welcome back to DeHaven Family Farm. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button and the bell icon for me, please. Helps our farm, helps our channel, helps small farms. I would appreciate it. Today we're going to go over, we're going to talk about 4 different crops that all our small farm produces, and sort of the realities of being a small farmer, sort of what that means when you have bad years, and you know, what we personally do to try and combat it. And you know, we need to look at some plans for the future as well. So getting into today's video, we're standing here in our orchard. We have many different varieties of apples. We do have a few peach trees and stuff too, but I want to show you here these trees. So you know, when you look at that tree, it looks like, wow, there is a great crop of apples on that tree. And there's, in these rows, some of those are a little harder to see, but you look up, here's this tree here and up there, a lot of apples. Looks fantastic. Hey, we're doing great this year, but we're not. If you come here closer and take a look at these, you can see we've got, as the sun, there we go, we have pest damage, we have irregularly shaped apples. I mean, it's just, there are some good ones, but not enough to make any money with. There are plenty that, you know, we can save and use for ourselves, you know, so we're not going to let them go to waste. We don't make cider here. We don't have equipment for that. So that would be one outlet that we could do with apples that don't look so nice. That's what a lot of orchards do, but we've never gotten into that. Again, don't have the equipment, so that just isn't a possibility. So we are not going to have any income from these apple trees this year because of this. So what happened? How did we get to this point? So basically, it's the weather, it's the rain. So we've had here in northeastern Pennsylvania a ridiculous amount of rain this year, a lot of humidity and things too. But so what happens is the rain, obviously, the rain is good to grow the apples. You know, we water the trees. We don't have to worry about it if it was a drought, right? But the problem arises that there are 100 jobs to do when the weather is nice. And when you have tiny little windows of nice weather, you cannot possibly get all those jobs done. So these trees did not get sprayed for bugs and diseases like they should have throughout the season, which would have given us a pretty darn good crop of apples this year. These trees are newer. They haven't been in that long, so it actually would have been our best crop of apples. But because our orchard is kind of small, we've done all of our spraying by hand at this point. So you know, it takes a while to do that. You need a lot of sunny days, and we're trying to make hay, which is something else that, you know, we do on the farm. So there was just absolutely no way to keep up with spraying these trees. So looking to the future for the trees, and actually the pumpkins, and we'll get to that after, what we're going to do is we're going to buy a mist sprayer, and I'll show you a picture of one here. Now that's not the one we bought, but we're going to get a unit like that. So basically we're going to be able to drive along one end of the orchard and the top edge of the orchard, and it'll spray about 60 or 70 feet in each direction. It does, it does like a big mist, right, 3-point hitch right on the back of the tractor, and in 1/8 of the time that it would take us to do them by hand, we'll have them done. So that means smaller windows of nice weather, we can get this done like we need to. So hopefully for next year, we'll be able to do a little bit better for that. So again, looks great, not so great. So let's go take a look at the corn. So here is our field of sweet corn, or what should be our field of sweet corn. So the issues that we had with the sweet corn field, so this particular field here, it has kind of a little bit of a knoll here, there's a knoll over there, and it has some low spots in it. So in a normal year, the field is 85–90% dry. In a dry year, it's actually a good field to use, and in a wet year, it's extra wet. And of course, we've had a extra wet year. So what that meant was, number one, planting the corn. It did not get planted, I guess you could say, correctly. The field just couldn't get it worked over quite right. It got planted a little bit deep. It was just the nature of it. Hoped for the best, just because of the way the weather was. So that was against us. Number two against us, the tractor that we were going to use for cultivating this has been broken all summer. I think regular viewers would have seen in a previous video that I just got it back. It was gone for over 3 months. That was the tractor, the only tractor we had set up to cultivate for weeds. Now you can see the weed pressure isn't as bad here, honestly, as it has been in other years. We did try to do a few things to remedy that, just kind of by hand. But anyway, so weed pressure's here, but it's always around in sweet corn, because sweet corn is just smaller. It doesn't fill in the rows and stuff like cow corn does. So didn't have good cultivation, too much rain. And then when we came down, we were actually surprised. We had a good patch of corn here, good patch of corn over there, and pretty much nothing over there. It was basically, it looked like this, 2.5 feet tall, small, didn't amount to anything. So we started picking some sweet corn the other day. It was good. Oh man, this variety was probably one of the best ones that we've had. And we did come in, there was some more corn here, but we cut some for corn stalks for sale, because that's part of what we do here on the farm, selling the pumpkins and corn stalks, hay bale, stuff like that here in the fall. And again, I did recently do a previous video showing some of the activities that we offer, kind of setting up some of them. Anyway, so then we came down here to cut corn stalks, and we had all these good corn stalks, and it wasn't a very long amount of time from the time that we picked the sweet corn and ate some of it, and some of it wasn't quite ready. So all right, we'll come back 4 or 5 days, we'll pick it, we'll cut our stalks. In that 4 or 5 days, this is what has happened. It has just absolutely been trampled. This was all good corn here. You can see over in there, there's nothing that's a low spot at all drowned, but look at this mess. We are assuming this was raccoons that came in here and did this. So they basically ruined about 90% of what was left of our good sweet corn in here. I mean, you can see they just, and then probably birds come in after, but you know, they eat, there you go. They eat some of the cob, they eat some of the corn, they just drag it all to the ground and make a huge mess. So now we've lost a lot of our corn stalks to sell. We've lost sweet corn, and so it's just very frustrating that the little bit of corn that we had ended up getting ruined. So like I said, the field goes all the way over there, and all that basically drowned. So that is the story with our sweet corn this year. Not a very good one. I know this video is going to seem rather negative, but again, it's just the realities of being a small farmer. You know, if we had 20 acres of sweet corn or whatever, well, you lose a patch of it, so what, no big deal. We're a small farm, we don't have 20 acres of sweet corn. So now let's go ahead and we'll go up and take a look at the pumpkins. All right, here's one of our fields of pumpkins. Looks like a nice big full field, a lot of orange there, right? Not so much right here at the end. My wife's been picking some of them, but yeah, a lot of good orange here. So the first thing you're gonna notice is a lot of these vines and things are dead. That normally will happen when we get like a killing frost, basically. We haven't had one of those yet. So again, I did a previous video, it was a short one, showing about spraying for mildews, powdery and downy mildews. We had an issue with that this year, and you can see most of these plants are dead. Some of them are still kind of hanging on, but so we didn't get the production that we normally should out of the plants, because a lot of them, I mean, these have been dead so long that they're all shriveled up and just gone. So our pumpkin count, harvest, quantities, whatever you want to call it, is down for the year. Like I said, a lot of good orange here, but there are some other issues with the pumpkins. So now we have plants dying, not growing pumpkins out to the size that they should be. So here's a good example of that. This nice little pumpkin here should be that size over there. It's still a sellable pumpkin, but obviously it's not the same price. So then you run into things like this, where you have critters coming in that start chewing on stuff. Let me make sure you can see that. So this pumpkin is not sellable now. This one is not sellable and is rotting a little bit. There's a lot of them. Oh, here you go. Here's another one, and another one, and another one. Oh, get out of the way here. So, I mean, you guys get the idea, right? I don't have to walk and show you every single pumpkin. Some of this is animal, and we have some. I'm trying to see if there's any around here that wasn't animal damage. This section here was hit hard by animals. Again, we're not sure if it's raccoons. It's something with sharp claws clawing at the pumpkins. We don't have deer issues here because all of this area is fenced in. We keep the deer out, so it has to be a small animal. But just judging by the marks that are on the sides of the pumpkins, it's some kind of small animal. We've never experienced this before, never had this issue, so we're kind of like scratching our heads wondering what it is. But here's some more here. There's one there that got clawed. We had a trap, didn't catch anything. That one's ruined, 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 ruined. And then we have ones that, because of all the rain, are just rotting on their own anyway. They just never hardened up all the way, and they're just rotting away. So, you know, when you take a look at the field from, sorry, I'm trying not to fall down. But when you take a look at the field from one end or the other, the side, it looks like, man, that's a great crop of pumpkins. But in reality, it's not. So, we're not sure the exact number yet, but we've probably lost 15% to just pumpkins not growing at all, whether the plant died or they grew to be a small size instead of a big size. We've probably lost 15% to animal damage, and we've probably lost at least 15% to the weather, the pumpkins not hardening up in time and just rotting away because it's so wet. So what was that? 45% roughly is about our loss at this point. It looks like we did plant a little more this year, so I think we're going to be okay. We're not sure. It's hard to say how many people are going to come this year. We weren't open last year, so we don't know what's going to happen, how many people are going to come to the patch. And yes, my broken down building is still in the back. But so stay tuned, because we will have a video harvesting, picking some pumpkins, a couple different ways on how we do it. So yeah, it's hard to say exactly right now what we've lost, but hopefully we'll have enough to get through the season, because we do have one other patch up by the farm and the parking lot. We have a pick your own patch. I mentioned earlier in the video that part of what our farm does to generate income is hay sales. So I have not made any other hay than what is on this farm this year. So we are going to have $0 in income from extra hay. So we're going to lose on the pumpkins. Sweet corn's pretty much a bust. The apples are a bust. We will have our farm admissions, people paying to come in to do the activities. We'll have our pumpkin sales, things like that. But pretty much we're going to be on the negative side of things here on our farm for this year because of all the rain. Again, the realities of being a small farm and not having good years, you know, you have to prepare for them, which we normally do. The last couple of years have been rough because of everything going on in the world anyway, so we've kind of had 2 or 3 bad years in a row here. So what that means, you know, for being a small farm and trying to be a small farm, and I know this video is getting kind of long, but just throwing this out there because I want people who are interested in starting a small farm that is not your traditional, you know, corn, soybeans, beef type of thing, because there are all these other options out here, but you have to be prepared to mitigate them. So again, next year, getting that sprayer, we can spray the orchard and we can spray all of these pumpkins and stay on top of the mildew issue. Won't do anything for the corn, but we're going to plant that in a different field next year. So it'll probably be a drought, but so you have to plan ahead. But when you have a bad year, for us as a first generation farm growing, most of you know that I run a second business, doing mostly excavating work, driveways, drainage, food plots, all that stuff. And that is what sustains the farm in the bad years. You know, we're still paying off equipment, again, being first generation. You know, some of the stuff is newer, some of it, you know, my tractors are from the 1990s, and I'm perfectly happy with that. But that's how we get by. We have a whole separate business that kind of keeps us going. So anyway, just a little insight on our crops, our farm, ways to plan ahead if you want to do a small farm, because you don't have to have 2, 3, 500,000 acres, but you have to know how to manage the land that you have. So anyway, thanks guys. Question, comments down below. Please don't forget to hit the bell icon on your way out the door. My arm is getting tired. This video is too long. Thanks for watching, and I sure hope to see everybody on the next video.